So think just for a minute about your own relationship, marriage or otherwise. Who would you say wears the pants in your relationship? Do you even want to answer that question out loud? You think you're going to get in trouble? We all know power struggles are no fun. Here to help us navigate those power struggles in this sort of shark-infested water is professional counselor Lindsay Walden. Lindsay, welcome back to Great Day.
Thanks. Good to be back.
We are having, while Virginia's having fun, you and I were having a very interesting conversation about today's topic and the fact that this issue of power struggles is something that a high percentage of relationships are going to run into eventually. We'll get to that in a second. First, how would you define this idea of a power struggle?
Well, it's interesting because you could use a lot of ways to describe it, or maybe even multiple terms that would all kind of mean the same thing. It's really the transition that happens when we go from kind of that infatuated, can't wait to be with you, can't wait to see you, to maybe more the day-to-day, like the transition into everyday living that, you know, not always is as fun.
But if the relationship really has legs and you're in it for the long haul, you're going to hit that point eventually.
Yeah, you would, I mean, you would have to.
Sure.
Because if we stayed in that infatuation like that, oh, it's just so great to see you, which we still want to have those feelings, but if we stayed there all the time, we would get little done.
So how do we know that we're really working our way toward a power struggle? What are some of the signs?
So it could be something as simple as maybe those endearing qualities about the person that you're with that at one point maybe weren't a big deal. They didn't bother you, or you just kind of glossed over them. Now you're kind of irritated. Or it could be that it just starts to feel like more work. You don't quite feel those same butterflies or that excitement. An example that sometimes I use with couples is, you know, imagine like for some people they go and buy a new pair of shoes and they're so excited to wear that new pair of shoes. And they wear it, but they wear them to such a point that they start to get a few blisters. So it's like, okay, they still like the shoes, but maybe we need to tend to some of the blisters before we put them back on. And so it's that idea. Or maybe if you think about a new car, you know, it gets to a point where it's not quite new anymore, and so maybe you're a little more lax with what you do with it.
You promise yourself you're never going to hit the drive-through in that new set of wheels, and then you do, and it smells like cheeseburgers.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And so it's kind of similar, and to get to that point, a lot of people, it can be frightening because they start to feel like, oh my gosh, does this mean I'm not in love, or does this mean that I'm not as happy as I thought I was? And really, if we can recognize it and talk about it, it can be a really beneficial thing.
And that's the next logical question for you, is what are we supposed to do once we recognize these signs and start to think, oh, here comes one of these power struggles?
Sure. Well, first of all, we want to, like I said, give voice to it. We want to be able to acknowledge, okay, I'm not feeling great, this doesn't feel good, this whatever it is. And then after we give voice to it, we start to think about picking our battles, kind of prioritizing what those needs and wants are. So maybe we don't pick the battle about the toilet seat being left up or down, but we wait for that conversation to be more about what we spend our, you know, finances on, things like that. And we find ways to balance it.
Is it necessarily a bad thing that perhaps one member of the relationship does hold some kind of power in one department, while another member of the relationship holds some kind of power in the other department, just because those are sort of their natural strengths, their natural strong areas?
Well, I think it's that a lot of people, although they say they don't want a carbon copy of themselves, or they don't want to date themselves or marry themselves. On some levels, we kind of do, because we would like to think, oh, if I want to paint the walls like bright chartreuse green, my partner's going to agree. But then at the same time, those opposite traits that you're talking about, although I think there is a balance that there needs to be there, but maybe they can balance each other out. Maybe you have one person who's really good in one area, and the other person balances out in another. It can be beneficial. We just would want to recognize those strengths and try and focus on those so that we don't have everybody trying to do everything and then causing even more of a struggle.
Sure. And at the end of the day, perfect scenario is both in the relationship are happy as individuals, and the couple, the relationship, is better off for it too.
Right, and giving voice to the power struggle allows the individuals to grow and the couple to grow.
Sure, very good. She makes it sound so easy.
Oh, I wish it was as easy as it sounds.
Well, we appreciate the help anyway, Lindsay. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
We have posted a link to Lindsay's website on ours, greatdaystlouis.com. Check it out when you get a chance. A lot of good stuff there. Thank you.
Thank you.
You bet. Today on Facebook, we want to know about continuing this conversation. Let's talk about the odd things that drive you crazy about your significant other. We're just stirring up all kinds of trouble today. Does he leave the seat up? Does she have way too many shoes? Get on Facebook, let us know. We'll try to share some of your thoughts a little bit later. Coming up on today's Great Day St. Louis, we'll show you a new trend in fall decor. why it's a good idea to go ahead and get out your Christmas tree now. No kidding. Plus, it's our favorite word, freebie. Our Deal Divas have the scoop on scoring a free photo book from Walgreens. That's coming up a little later. And it's one of the best ways to increase the value of your home. We'll show you how to remodel your bathroom and skip the demolition.